What is going on? Yeah, I'm going to record a podcast. This is wild. We're going to do a little solo pod. I'm going to talk about probably a bunch of random shit. And then, yeah, it's going to be a little life update, school update, fight updates. So grab yourself a nice little refreshment and take a little slurp. 2025, we're getting our posture up. Let's get started. So, I think this is episode 60. I haven't recorded a podcast in a while. A couple months at least. I was going to try to do one every month or two every month, and I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling it, I guess. I hate the solo pods because I feel like I'm talking to myself, rightfully so, but anyway, other than that, I've been up to pretty much, well, I hurt my shoulder, so I haven't been able to train in 7 weeks, so I've been doing quite a bit of shoulder rehab, trying to train as much as possible. That's one thing that I think I've learned is, like, even if you're hurt, you can still go to jiu-jitsu and watch. You can still watch film, and so you can still get better. But yeah, that sucked. I haven't been able to grapple in like 6-7 weeks, so that's unfortunate. Started teaching a beginner kickboxing class at Finley Jiu-Jitsu. So if you want to learn kickboxing, Saturday, 10 a.m., Finley Jiu-Jitsu. That's pretty cool. I think teaching really helps you break down the techniques. Some good athletes struggle to teach because they're just good at doing things without having to think about it. And having to teach a class, even a beginner kickboxing class, forces you to essentially break the movement down. And it kind of gives you a better understanding of why you're doing the things you're doing. And, you know, you can just break it down and go through the steps of those types of movements, which I think is super beneficial to all athletes. Let's see. Trying to get through school. Pretty much done. Almost done. I got, 21st? So I got like 2 or 3 weeks left. My last exam is May 5th. So I'm ready to get that shit out of the way. And then I start clinicals in July, unfortunately. Not looking forward to that, but I'm trying to stay stoic. About it. It is unfortunate. I mean, you don't get paid. It's an unpaid internship. It's 5 days a week, pretty much 40 hours a week. However, every person I talk to say that they love like the appy portion, which is just like the clinicals. They love the clinical portions significantly more than they do like the schooling. So we'll see how it goes. Looking forward to get that shit over with. Which, I mean, that kind of leads me, what is it like to tackle uncertainty and difficulty? It is tough, but I personally think like the best way to view it is in a way that a stoic would, and just essentially be indifferent. Like if you have to do some annoying shit, be indifferent about it, because the event itself isn't annoying. It's the label that you're putting on the event that's like causing you to view it as annoying. It's basically an inanimate situation. It can't have a good or bad label, essentially. So just being indifferent with annoying situations and, you know, just getting through them as best as you can, I guess. One thing I wanted to bring up, and is pretty much the main topic of this pod, we're just going to jump right into it. So It's kind of a big, I don't want to say big trend, but it's kind of a trend, I guess. Essentially, you ask ChatGPT and you give it the prompt. If you were the devil and wanted to keep an entire nation sick, what would you do? And yeah, I'm just going to run you down the list of what it said. So number one, it says it would corrupt the food supply. And that's, currently happening. So over 70% of the grocery stores consist of processed food. Organic food and grass-fed meat is much more expensive than the alternatives. Most of the processed cereals and Pop-Tarts are marketed towards children on purpose. And if we look at these NOVA classes, which I have right here, is it essentially goes through the NOVA classification food system. The NOVA food classification system goes through 4 groups. Basically, unprocessed or minimally processed to, oil, fat, salt, and sugar. That's group 2. Group 3 is processed foods, and then group 4 is ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods are like biscuits or cookies, packaged snacks, chocolate, soda, energy and sports drinks, flavored yogurt, sweetened juices like fruit juice and all that, breakfast cereals, blah, 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 blah. But then we go to, that was ultra-processed food. Then we go to group 1, which is unprocessed, which is essentially says unprocessed or natural foods are obtained directly from plants or animals and do not undergo any alteration following their removal from nature. So that's pretty much what we're aiming for, are group 1 types of foods. However, 70% of the grocery store consists of group 3 processed foods or group 4 ultra processed foods. So again, back to my point. Yeah, the food supply is most definitely corrupt. And if we look at this New York Times article, right, it says the link between highly processed foods and brain health. This article stated, research from the past 10 or so years has shown that the more ultra-processed foods a person eats, the higher the chances that they feel depressed and anxious. And a few studies have even suggested a link between eating ultra-processed foods and an increased risk of cognitive decline, which are, that's kind of scary. Think about it. And there are numerous studies out there showing correlations with a diet high in ultra-processed foods, increasing the risk of all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, dementia, obesity, metabolic disease, and the list just goes on. So, yeah, that's currently happening. The second one was to normalize sedentary lifestyle. And most people, I don't have any studies to really back this one up, but if you go outside, most people are pretty unactive. They're inactive. They go sit and work at a desk all day, or they sit inside and they get no sunlight, or they're staring at a screen, or all three. So, that one's pretty obvious. I think most people you think of aren't necessarily active. They don't consistently go to the gym and work out or run or any of that. So that would be sedentary lifestyle. The next one is to undermine mental health. And if you just look around, you get on social media, pretty much everybody has issues with mental health. And I literally mean everybody, pretty much everyone. And there was a study that led by the... Let me back up. I think screens are essentially causing this mental health issue, right? Most people aren't, really interacting with other humans. They're just, they're just sitting inside all day, either playing video games or scrolling TikTok or whatever it is. And I think that can have negative impacts on mental health for sure. I mean, there was a study led by the faculty at Yale Department of Psychiatry and Columbia School of Nursing, and they analyzed screen media activity in over 5,100 9 and 10-year-olds who participated in the ABCD study, which is the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study, and it was the largest long-term analysis of brain development and child health in the United States. It found that youth who spent the most time on their digital technology were statistically more likely to exhibit higher levels of internalizing problems 2 years later. Internalizing problems include depression, anxiety, social anxiety, somatic complaints, and other concerns. This association between frequent screen time and mental health problems was mediated by specific changes in brain development. Which, I mean, that's kind of scary. And it goes on to say the scientists had previously found similar patterns of brain development in ABCD youth who spent the most time with technology and adults who consumed alcohol earlier in life. However, the current study did not find that the same brain changes mediated relationships between frequent screen time and externalizing problems 2 years later. Externalizing problems include physical aggression, verbal bullying, relational aggression, defiance, and other concerns. So essentially they were saying that, like, children who spent significantly high amounts of time on technology and screens and media exhibited internalizing problems up to 2 years later. That's scary. Next one would be spread misinformation. I'm not going to really get into that one, but you just look at the last, 4 years? Like, literally everything has been labeled misinformation from both sides. So, that one's pretty self-explanatory. Medicalize everything. I'm not going to dive too deep into this one, but overview is essentially, the people who have diets high in processed food, as talked about earlier, they're getting sick, which then instead of targeting the problem, which is clearly diets high in processed food and a lack of exercise, we prescribe drugs. That would be considered as medicalizing something that doesn't need to be medicalized. So, disease is essentially caused by lifestyle, but it isn't fixed by lifestyle. It's fixed by prescribing a pill. And then that pill potentially has side effects that is, fixed by another pill. The list goes on. So, yeah, that's happening. Disrupt sleep. We know that sleep quality is significantly more important than duration. So with that, our body's circadian rhythm is important. This is essentially our biological clock that allows us to fall asleep and allows us to get good quality sleep. However, our screens, our phones, our computers, TV is affecting this. While light of any kind can suppress the secretion of melatonin, blue light is especially prevalent in suppressing the secretion of melatonin, especially if you view that super bright blue light at night. Harvard researchers and their colleagues conducted an experiment comparing the effects of 6.5 hours of exposure to blue light versus the exposure to green light. The blue light suppressed melatonin for about twice as long as the green light and shifted circadian rhythms by twice as much, 3 hours versus 1.5 hours. And all of our technology, again, our phones, TVs, and computers are all emitting blue light. It says in another study of blue light, the researchers at the University of Toronto compared the melatonin levels of people exposed to bright indoor light who were wearing blue light blocking goggles to people exposed to regular dim light without wearing goggles. The fact that the levels of the hormone were about the same in the two groups strengthens the hypothesis that blue light is a potent suppressor of melatonin. It also suggests that shift workers and etc. This is essentially only one factor of our sleep issues, but a large factor nonetheless. I mean, most people, I know someone personally that, yeah, extremely addicted to their phone. Family functions on their phone the whole time. Then we were talking about sleep the other day. He was like, you guys don't wake up in the middle of the night and check your phone for messages? We were like, no, bro, what are you talking about? So, I mean, that's just one like person that I know. I'm sure that there's a vast majority of people like that out there. So, and then we go into destabilized communities. Not really sure, I'm not going to go into that. I don't have expertise in that, but makes sense. Seems like more people are, the left versus the right, blah, 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 all that stupid shit. So that seems pretty applicable, I guess. And spiritual emptiness. Yeah, I would say that one's happening as well. A lot of people don't really know. I mean, most people don't even know what meditation is. So, and even if they do, I mean, are they really? I mean, even if they know what meditation is, most likely they're probably not meditating. Most people care more about money and cars and houses and, materialistic goods rather than spiritual growth. I don't really have any evidence to support that, but I mean, that's my personal opinion, I think. But it does seem like the case. If you talk to a majority of people, most of them talk about wanting to get the next nicest car or the next big house or whatever, which all that shit's cool, but I mean, I don't know. I'd rather spend more time growing spiritually and as a fighter than I would. Yeah, I don't know. But, sorry, I was yapping. But, yeah, so, if you break all those down, literally every single one of those things are happening. And it's pretty wild to think about. Especially, asking AI and it spits out. And everything that it spit out is basically happening right now. And I'm not saying that, there's a person behind the scenes or a group of people behind the scenes, all right, this is how we're going to... But I'm also not saying that that's not happening either. It's possible. And for those people who want to say, oh, this is a conspiracy theorist, or this is a conspiracy theory, you're a conspiracy theorist, that's incorrect. The definition of a conspiracy theory is a belief that some secret influential organization is responsible for an event or phenomenon. That's not the case. Every single one of the points that have been spoken of are currently happening. So most people, most people are scared to face the truth of what happens, so they just label it a conspiracy because it makes them sleep better at night. I just gave you statistics and, I didn't give you a full in-depth review and rundown of everything, but I gave you some statistics and references supporting nearly all of these points. So, you can't label this a conspiracy. You can. It would just be an incorrect, use of the word. But with that said, that was pretty fucking negative, not gonna lie. But I think most people are starting to realize that these things are happening. Being healthy has kind of gotten more popular. More people are into the gym culture stuff. They're posting about themselves working out, eating healthier, and doing things to better their health, which is cool because that's a significantly better alternative than, what's going on, or what has been going on at least. And that ties in with the body positivity movement. You can be nice, I guess. You can be nice to people, but the complete and utter delusion that being obese is a form of body positivity is just that. It's delusional. I can read every statistic known to man that if you're obese, you're going to have significant increases or a significant increased risk of all-cause mortality and every metabolic disease under the sun. And actually, if you're obese, you do have metabolic disease. So, I mean, that has nothing to do with body positivity. That's just, I mean, people are just stupid, I guess. I don't know. Not stupid. Maybe they're just misinformed. That goes back to the other one. Damn. Misinformation. But, you know, again, that was negative stuff. But I do see more people, you know, doing things to better their health. And I personally think that podcasts have aided in this. And the positive side of social media has also helped. You see people jumping on the bandwagon, which is not a bad thing. So I do think there's definitely like light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to keep learning. I think knowledge is power, and the more we question the norms and standards of quote-unquote society like science had initially intended, I mean, the more we'll grow and the more we'll be better as like a human species, I guess. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, we're literally just super sophisticated animals. That's literally all we are. Like, I don't know how else to put that, I guess. I don't want to elaborate on that too much because I just don't. But, yeah, I do see it could be a positive. I think most people are trying to move in the right direction. I don't know. I mean, we can talk about Ozempic. Ozempic, I think it's stupid. It's just like that, you know, everybody thinks it's a fix, like, you know, it's a fix-all injection. It's not. Like, you're basically chemically inducing anorexia, essentially. But I do understand, like, I'm not saying that for everybody. Like, I can see people who are significantly overweight and significantly obese. It's like, yeah, that's kind of like a little jump start that they need, but that's like not making you healthier, I guess is what I'm, you know, trying to say. But it can give you the boost and kind of like the start that you needed to then try to, you know, turn your life around and get healthier and try to start eating healthier, you know. So, I mean, I think there's definitely positives to it. I'm not saying that there's not, but I don't think everybody under the sun should be on Ozempic because I think it's stupid. But everybody wants that easy fix-all. Let's just, you know, let's try to just, you know, everybody's just looking for the easiest way and easiest way through something. People are lazy and they don't want to do hard things, which is unfortunate. But I get it. So, pretty much done with that. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Let's move on to something else. Let me read some of these Twitter bookmarks that I had saved. Did I not save? Damn, bro. I must not have saved all of them. Okay, this is a good one. Broke parents raise broke kids. Here are 10 powerful lessons that rich parents teach their kids. 1. Understand assets versus liabilities. Assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money out. Wealthy families prioritize buying income, generating assets. 2. You're not entitled to anything. Rich parents teach their kids that success is earned. They instill a strong work ethic, knowing wealth must be grown and protected. 3. Money is a powerful tool. The poor often see money as evil or a cause of problems. The rich view money as a tool to build, grow, and navigate life. They use money to buy stocks, real estate, and businesses. 4. Build relationships that matter. Wealthy parents emphasize social skills and networking. Their kids learn to make valuable connections, collaborate, and get exposed to bigger opportunities. Your network often becomes your net worth. 5. Master the difference between good and bad debt. Poor people borrow for wants, rich people borrow for returns. Bad debt is phones, vacations, luxury cars. Good debt is real estate, investments, business growth. 6, solve real problems to make money. Want to get rich? Fix a problem people care about. Money doesn't define your character. Money isn't evil. It's neutral. It just amplifies who you already are. If you're kind, it lets you do more good. And if you're greedy, it magnifies that as well. 8, don't chase quick wins. True wealth is built over years, not weeks. I know this is quite off topic. Focus on increasing income, not just cutting cost. Poor people obsess over saving pennies. The rich focus on earning more dollars. And 10, make money work for you. Poor people trade time for money and then spend it. The rich invest money to buy back time and earn more passively. Your goal is to build a system where money works harder than you do. Yeah, and that's pretty much why I say consistently that I think college is stupid. Unless you know 1,000% that what you want to do in life is requires a degree. Like if you want to be a doctor, you're going to have to go to college. Pharmacist, you're going to have to go to college. But if you're just going to go to college because you don't know what you want to do, that's so stupid. Additionally, if you kind of want to do something, that's also dumb. And it's especially dumb if you say, I want to make money. What's a career that can make me money? You know, average pharmacist can make like $150,000 a year. That's a good amount of money. But you're basically going to invest. It's just a poor investment, essentially. You're investing money, and instead of getting passive income, like the money working for you, you're investing money to give you the opportunity to then invest your time for money. That is the dumbest investment of all time. Literally the dumbest investment of all time if you look at it from that perspective. I do think college, is good in certain situations. Again, I do think college can teach people things, but I think it's dumb at the same time. Unfortunately, I don't know. But, yeah, so when people ask me that question, what do you think about college? I think college is stupid. Let's read another one here. Actually, let me read some James Clear, and then we'll get out of here. This is why I don't like solo podcasts, because I feel like I'm talking to myself. And I pretty much am, so... Okay, we'll go 3, 2, 1 on the joy of losing, how to set expectations with others, and notes to myself. 3 ideas for me. 1, remain playful as your responsibilities increase. It's easy to become serious when people and results depend on you, but nearly everyone's performance improves when they proceed lightly through the world. Yeah, Isaac brought this up to me the other day when he was talking about getting better at martial arts. And I'm not an expert at all. By no means. I've been fighting for 2 years. But when you put a significant amount of pressure on yourself, I have to learn this. It's going to be much harder for you to learn that than you go in with a playful mindset or a joyous. You're happy to be there. You're having fun. You're enjoying it. You're going to learn so much more with that mindset than putting pressure on yourself. 2, although losing is never fun, there is a certain satisfaction that can be found on the other side of losing, but only when you give your all. To lose with half effort offers no pleasure in the moment and no peace in the long run. But if your ambitions were full and your attempt was genuine, after the sting of losing wears off, you'll be left with something resembling contentment. The reward is not always in winning, but in striving. Yeah, and you can learn more from losses. Like, don't really view as losing something. Learn as, how can I get better from this experience? And I think that'll also aid you in growing. Number 3, I found this in a pile of notes to myself and share here simply as a food for thought. You want 2 things. 1, simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. No wasted movement, no wasted effort. 2, compounding. Every project should have a long runway and feed the others. Yeah, sure. Sure thing. But yeah, that's really all I had. I wanted to talk about that AI prompt. That was pretty crazy. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I believe, like I said earlier, I think this is episode 60, so that's pretty sick. Yeah, and eventually, I'm gonna start doing one a week again. Just, I'm busy. I gotta finish school. But yeah, here we are. And I'll try to do, one every once in a while to kind of update. But then, yeah, after I graduate, it's gonna be, I'll try to do at least 2 a week, or at least 2 a month, but potentially 1 a week. So that's really it, fellas. So I hope you guys have a good week. I'm gonna try to get this out Wednesday, but no promises. So y'all have a good week and get your posture up. Eat some good food. Eat some Group 1 Nova class, unprocessed or minimally processed food, and drink water. Drink some motherfucking water, bro. Add a little bit of sea salt. And yeah, get yourself hydrated and get after it. So, peace and love. Deuces.